Welcome back to Noir Alley. I'm your host, Eddie Muller. Today I'm presenting a film that could easily qualify as the epitome of noir style. The title alone, Night in the City, evokes the very essence of noir, so it's not surprising it was made at the peak of Hollywood's noir movement. Shot in the fall of 1949, released in the spring of 1950. What is surprising is that the film was made at all. British author Gerald Kirsch's novel of the same name was published in 1938. It's a work of high-minded pulp fiction, a Dickens-like picaresque following the lives of shady characters scrambling for survival in London's underworld. The book was a big hit on its home turf, a sort of crime-infested precursor to the slice-of-life kitchen sink dramas that would emerge in England after the war. Hollywood super agent Charles Feldman bought the rights to the book in 1946, thinking it would be an ideal project for director Jacques Tourneur. But 6 different screenwriters couldn't wrangle the unwieldy narrative, which featured a slew of lowlifes swirling around a particularly repugnant protagonist named Harry Fabian.
I was just looking for a cigarette.
In the novel, Harry is a ponce who pimps out his own girlfriend, not a character easily translatable to movie screens. In fact, Charlie Feldman gave up. In 1949, he sold the rights to the book and all its failed drafts to 20th Century Fox. So why would studio chief Darryl Zanuck buy such an untenable property? Well, there are 2 reasons. First, he needed to make a film in London to use up studio money frozen there under the quid pro quo arrangements that governed the British distribution of American films. Secondly, Zanuck was doing a favor for director Jules Dassin, who just made a terrific picture at Fox, Thieves' Highway. The director was reputed to be a target of the House Committee on Un-American Activities, and he dreaded being called to rat out colleagues in order to salvage his career. Zanuck hoped that in London, Dassin could work some of the same kind of on-location magic he'd managed in 1948 when he made Naked City in the streets of Manhattan. To rewrite the script, Zanuck hired Joe Eisinger, one of the original screenwriters on Feldman's failed Night in the City project. Having been a screenwriter himself, Zanuck was more adept than any other studio boss at freeing up a stuck script. He told Eisinger to make all the action flow non-stop through Harry Fabian, who was reconceived as a displaced American hustler, a small-time operator with big-time delusions, not the native Londoner he is in the book. As for how to make a compelling leading man out of a reprehensible spiv, Zanuck had the answer under contract: Richard Widmark. The actor had become one of the studio's most bankable stars by playing rotten bastards with a giddy flourish audiences couldn't resist. He created a sensation with his gleefully sadistic turns in the Fox Noirs Kiss of Death, Street with No Name, and Roadhouse. But after 2 years of this typecasting, Widmark was desperate to appear normal. One story has it that in exchange for playing Harry Fabian, Widmark was promised a heroic leading role in Fox's upcoming thriller, Panic in the Streets. So Widmark signed on. And once in England, he pulled out all the stops. Harry Fabian wasn't the last loser Widmark would play, but he is certainly the most legendary. This is a performance of such manic desperation, at times it's actually painful to watch. Zanuck's last bit of largesse was casting Gene Tierney as Widmark's girlfriend, Mary Bristol. The actress was going through a particularly rough time in her life, and friends believed she was suicidal. Dr. Zanuck prescribed lots of work and a change of scenery. He had Eisinger change the character from a hardened prostitute to a sweet-natured and infinitely patient cabaret singer. This isn't one of the most complex or compelling characters in the actress's career. It's no Leave Her to Heaven, but the role could very well have saved her life. Dassin and his cameraman, Berlin-born Mutz Greenbaum, billed here as Max Green, matched the intensity of Widmark's performance by creating some of the most go-for-Baroque images and sequences ever put on film. It's as if the three of them relentlessly pushed each other to see how close to the edge they could take this whole sordid affair. Featuring an incredibly grotesque supporting cast, Noir Alley presents one of the genuine masterpieces of film noir, Night and the City.